All right, my friends, welcome to Trending. Today's another Weird Friday episode. Today is Friday, December 9th. It's 9:30. And Joe, we're finally back in the studio.
We are back, man.
You and I have not been in the same room to do this in a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what was even going on the last time we were in a studio.
It's been a long time. So we moved to the new studio, the new construction. So we have not actually recorded a Trending in this room yet. This is the maiden voyage of Trending in the new studio.
Yeah, man. I like it.
It's nice to...
It's got a good vibe to it.
Yeah, we're finally back together in the same room. Feels good.
That's right.
So happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday to you, good sir.
Thank you. And thanks to you for watching us. It's another weird week where things were weird yesterday, so we're doing a Friday edition this week. And let's just get to it. You ready?
Let's do it, man.
So the last several weeks, we've kind of tried to hone in on kind of one topic, go a little bit deeper. Today we've got 5 that we're just going to go through as fast as we can and get you some of the big things happening in the world today and this week. So.
All right.
First up, I have to start with a little bit of not a confession, but a whoopsie daisy from last week. So last week we talked about the People of the Year, right? And we talked about the People Magazine People of the Year.
Okay.
And when I talked about the previous year's winners, I actually showed the Time Magazine People of the Year. So I got it confused. So it is confusing, though.
Did anybody catch you on it?
No, I caught myself. I didn't hear from anybody, but
Yeah.
It is confusing. People Magazine does People of the Year, and Time Magazine is kind of the iconic Person of the Year that they do every year. So anyway, a little bit of a hiccup last week, but this week they announced that the Time Magazine finally announced their Person of the Year, and it's Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, which I think is a great choice. People is kind of the more celebrity, pop culture side of things. Time is more the news.
Yeah.
And I think Zelenskyy is a great choice for that. And I was thinking this morning, Joe, like it's rare. Like I think whenever we study back on history, there's usually like a clear good guy and a bad guy. Like World War II, we know who the good guys and the bad guys are. Mm. But like in real time, I think sometimes it's hard to know who the good guys and bad guys are.
Right.
This Ukraine-Russia thing, pretty much everyone is in agreement.
Yes.
Zelensky's the good guy, Putin's the bad guy. Like it's pretty unanimous that this is kind of a good versus evil conflict. And Zelensky's been like on the front lines. He's been right with his people the whole time. And I think a pretty good model of what a leader should look like in war. So any thoughts on Time and Zelenskyy?
I mean, there's, I guess, so much we could say there. He's obviously showed great courage. I think that's an attribute. When we look for like someone who is iconic, I think courage is one of those characteristics. He's courageous, man. I mean, Ukraine could have caved in at any point, and they continue to fight on until it seems like Russia wants to give in. Yeah. Even earlier this week, like they're flying drones into Russian territory and doing their own attacks. It's like, wow, like they're not just trying to retrieve the ground that's been taken from them, but they're like trying to send a message to. And by no means am I like some military strategist nor enthusiast, but you need someone who is courageous, someone who's not drained of their humanity, but someone who's full of humanity when they're leading in these moments. Yep. I feel like he's done that. Has he made mistakes? Absolutely. He's not perfect. And I think we'll continue to look back and say, yeah, there might have been some missteps, but for the most part, week after week, you see him doing just courageous things. And so, according to my book, it's been a pretty good thing.
And I remember, Joe, I can't remember when this conflict actually started. I can't remember.
I think we're 9 months into it.
So all I remember is that the week that the news broke, we talked about it here, and I think we and most of the world thought it was going to be like a week or two. Like I think everyone thought it was going to be pretty quick. Ukraine was going to fall pretty quickly. Yeah. We didn't know what the fallout was going to be, but I don't think anybody saw it. We would still be talking about this as an active conflict in December, and who knows how far it's going to continue going. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a crazy story, but Ukraine is inspiring, and Zelenskyy is an inspiring story.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
All right, as we can kind of continue the theme of the year end, every week we take a look at the Google trending topics, right? Mm-hmm. So Google released their 2022 year in search. They do this every year, kind of the top searches of the whole year. I encourage you to check it. If you just Google a year in review or year in search, you'll find they always compile a nice little video of the highlights of the year. Okay. And it's always like it's inspiring. It's a little bit of like a tearjerker. Like they do a really good job of kind of wrapping up the year in just a couple minutes with the biggest stories. A lot happened this year, obviously good and bad like always. So I encourage you to check out that video. It's really cool. So they just kind of released some of the top searches for this year. The number one search this year, Wordle.
Yes.
Which I still like. I think you and I were playing Wordle before most of the world was. So I think Wordle got the trending bump on Google.
Yeah, we broke it wide open.
We broke it, and it never turned back after that.
That's right.
So I feel like we have like this personal tie to trending or to Wordle. I love that it's on the top of the Google list this year. I love it. So that's cool.
Wordle wasn't even a word 3 years ago,
or last year.
Yeah, and so here it is. It's like front and center. It's crazy. Did you do Wordle yet today?
I did. I got it in 4, I think.
Me too, man. It's mostly 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right.
So some of the other top searches this year. Of course, the celebrities who died, that's always kind of the top of the list. So Betty White, Bob Saget were kind of at the top of the list, and then Ukraine kind of rounded up the top 4. You can go pretty deep. They've got a lot of the top searches. You can do some kind of fun research there. So I encourage you to check out the Google interview just for a fun look back at 2022.
Yeah, man.
Okay, next up. So last night was Trevor Noah's last night as the host of the the Daily Show.
Yeah.
So he kind of left a pretty big mark on the late night scene. So he took over after Jon Stewart. Stewart was on, I think, for about 16 years. Noah did, I think, 7 years. So a relatively short stint as the host of a pretty big show. But he's from South Africa, so he brings kind of a unique perspective on American news, American culture. I think he's funny. I think he did a really good job. So I think he's planning to kind of step down, do some stand-up comedy. He's going to tour, do some tour dates. No one really knows for sure what his future looks like. They haven't really named a successor yet. So for the next several months, they're going to do a variety of guest hosts. I don't know if they're kind of testing these people out to see if one of them might stick, or they haven't decided what the long-term future of that show is. But any thoughts on The Daily Show, Trevor Noah? What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, I would catch The Daily Show. So in the morning when I'm like making breakfast and stuff, I kind of roll through YouTube, and it tends to like... the algorithm gives me all the late night shows, like the monologues and stuff, so I would catch him quite often. And then some of his cognates, like he has, some of these folks who do spoof things, and I found him to be pretty calm. That's what there's a couple times where he had some contentious interviews, like people who were on the other side of the perspective of him, and what I just noticed is that per capita, like he was calmer than they were, and that struck me and actually taught me, like, whenever you're in maybe in heated exchange, it's worth like trying to keep cool, calm, and collected, and it tends to make it go better. Yeah. And so I'll remember that. Isn't he like a New York Times #1 bestseller?
I'm sure. Yeah,
like
wouldn't surprise me.
Wrote a book, and so
very smart,
an accomplished guy for the short career that he's had so far. So it'll be interesting to see what he does from here, and it'll be interesting to see who they get into his place. Yeah. I have no thoughts. I have no nominations.
And The Daily Show has kind of held a really specific and interesting place in culture. There's always been like late night talk show hosts, right? But the Daily Show is always this satire spin that was new. Like when Jon Stewart started doing that was new. And I think it's been good for culture. Like I think since it was entertaining, I think younger people tuned into the news in a way they hadn't before. I mean, it's news. It was on Comedy Central, so I don't know how much we can call it news.
Right.
But at least younger people they knew more about current events because of The Daily Show.
Right.
And it talked about heavy topics in a light way, which I think was different from the tone of like the nightly news. So I think it's been an important show, and I think it'll be interesting to see where they go from here.
Yeah.
All right, Trevor Noah. Next up, a cool thing that I don't know if you've heard about yet, Joe. Have you heard about this Alexa Thank My Driver?
No.
Yet? Okay, so it's a cool thing. So obviously, everybody shops on Amazon these days, especially during the holidays. More and more people are doing online shopping compared to going into the stores, right? And so the Amazon employees are obviously slammed. Like they are working very, very hard. I've got a friend, Josh. He goes to a church here. He works there, and he just tells me some of the crazy stories of how slammed they are this time of year. So Amazon released this new thing where after you get a delivery, if you have an Echo Dot, like an Alexa unit in your house, you can say, Alexa, thank my driver, and your driver will automatically get a $5 tip.
Oh, wow.
And that's from Amazon. It doesn't come from you. It comes from Amazon.
Nice.
So it doesn't cost you anything, just a couple seconds to tell your Alexa to tip your driver. Your driver will get $5. And the person who gets the most, I think I'm getting this right, I think the driver who gets the most gets an additional $10,000 bonus.
Wow.
And they get to donate to the charity of their choice.
Wow.
So I think that's cool. Like I think the drivers probably, I don't know how much they get paid, probably not enough.
Right.
We kind of overlooked job market, I suppose. So it's kind of cool, just something that's costs us nothing can give them a little bit of a bump over the holidays.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool thing.
I mean, listening to you talk about it, like it makes me want to go get an Alexa Dot. I don't have one of those at home.
Yeah.
But that'd be kind of a cool thing. We've decided to do. Ginger heard about this idea of like you set out snacks.
Oh, nice.
And so there's like water and trail mix and chocolate and stuff like that. Things out there. And like what's so fun is that through our Ring app or whatever, we can like it's fun because our drivers will say, "Oh, what am I gonna pick today?" You know, like they're like really cool about it. So,
that's awesome.
Anyways, I think offering them something is a nice gesture.
Yeah, I think that's a cool idea. I love that you guys do that too. Just anything simple that you can do for people who you know are stressed over the holidays, just to bless them, even just a tiny bit, or just to thank them, or just little things to add some cheer.
It's contagious, y'all. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's a good thing.
Yep.
Okay, last up, Joe.
All
We always tread very lightly into politics with a little bit of fear and trembling. We don't like talking about it. We try to be really neutral. We're not trying to change your mind. I feel like we have to give all these disclaimers every time we talk about politics.
And.
Yes.
Right.
We are not trying to change your mind, but every once in a while I feel like there's something that is just worth talking about. This morning, the number one story across all the platforms, all the stations, is the Arizona Senator Kristen Sinema. She's decided that she's going to break away from the Democrat Party and be fully independent.
Yeah.
So she's been in the news a lot this year. She's a pretty high-profile senator. I don't think we necessarily need to talk about her, but I guess I just want to talk about this shift of moving from one party to independent. Is that a good move, do you think? I think more and more people feel like neither of the two big parties really represent them well, accurately. There's not like a party that's, Christian or not. I don't know. Again, I don't want to get too deep here, but I just think it's an interesting thing that I think we might see more of, is seeing people kind of disassociate from the two parties to be more independent. What are your thoughts? Is that a good, bad thing, neutral? What are your thoughts as you hear that?
I got a couple different thoughts. I think on the one hand, it's inspiring that somebody wants to make a bold move for themselves. Not a lot of people are going to do this because it seems like if the bases of both parties are pushing further extreme. But I think a lot of the American public is somewhat in the middle. They're somewhat moderate. I think when we go to vote, I think we're eager to vote because it's our right, but I think we feel stuck at some level.
Yeah.
We even see this like in the last midterm election where, for instance, in Georgia, like a lot of Republicans from Georgia, like they voted a straight ticket, but they didn't vote for Herschel Walker. And that there's actually a lot of them that did that, right?
Yeah.
And so there are people who are saying, no, I still want to make up my mind when it comes to people I just can't stand to vote. Some people are like holding their noses as they vote. They'll say instead of sitting it out. And so I think that it would be encouraging to see more of an independent voice. I don't think it's probably good for the long-term future of her political ambitions.
Yeah.
It does change the balance of the Senate. The Senate was going to be 51 Democrat, 49 Republican. Now we've got 50 Democrat, 1 Independent, and 49 Republican. So maybe it changes some things there. I don't know. There's this great big study that came out several years ago called Hidden Tribes, where they tried to segment people into conservative, progressive. And what they found is like there's an exhausted majority in American life right now. They're exhausted by the venom on both sides. They like, I think, something a little more calm and cool-headed than what seems to be pervasive. I think another study I saw is that only 1.5 out of 10 Americans really keep up with political headlines. Like the real divide is not really right or left or red or blue, but it's those who are like what they call political snobs.
Yeah.
And the rest of us who like have other things that we want to like talk about, like sports and things like that, right?
Yes.
And so I just think like it is a welcoming thing to get a more moderate voice. I don't think it's going to be pervasive. I don't think it's going to be good for her political futures, but that's just me looking into my rather murky crystal ball. I do think that she does, what has been characteristic of her political career in particular is pulling stunts. I mean, she is a stunt-throwing politician like a lot of the younger to mid-age politicians that we see now. You have to get noticed in order to be relevant. And so to be honest, like I don't know if this is on principle. I think it's just she wants to she wants to be noticed again.
Yeah.
That's just my 2 cents. But hey, man, all of us have one life to live, and if you want to live your life this way, go ahead and do it. But it'll be interesting to see. And she comes from a very interesting state politically, Arizona. And so, what's going to happen when she decides to be independent in that state with all of its previous, its previous voting happenstances? So I don't know, man. It'll be interesting to see.
And I think she plans to caucus with the Democrats still. So I think it's going to be similar to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is technically an independent, but he caucuses with Democrats. So I think it probably won't actually mean that much.
Right.
But I do think, I've heard some people on some podcasts say that the media makes it out to be, far right, far left, and all of us are either far right or far left. Right. But when when they do surveys and stuff, I don't know, 7, 8 out of 10 Americans are somewhere in the middle. We're not this or that. There's something in the middle ground. So I just hope whatever party people align with, I just hope there is just some middle ground stuff to move forward. I think that's the best thing for all of us.
Yeah, and I just think we need to decide, what does loyalty in politics look like? Does it look like turning our brains off if our party starts doing weird stuff? I hope not. I hope that we can continue to think through it. I hope that we can nuance our political opinions and not just nod along with what they're always saying all the time, right? Yeah. And of course, when it comes to faith and politics, loyalty's got a scale too. Is politics something that we care about more than our Christian identity? We'll say that again and again. It's going to be something that we're always going to wrestle with, because I think we do want Christian causes to advance. Unfortunately, the modern church in America has resigned the fact that we only advance through political action, and this is not the case. There's been Christian communities with zero political clout that have changed the world, and I just hope that we'll mine into those stories, that we'll mimic what they did, so that we don't have to feel this conflict inside by seeing Christianity flourish only on the backs of political action. It's just not the case.
And we've talked about in recent weeks. I love that our church, Ridgepoint, we just gave a ton of money, our biggest offering ever, to ministries that we think are doing some really good things in the world. We're going to start doing some stuff with Care Portal. I think it's great for the church to care for people who are, on the out of society. So I think you're right. If we can be the kind of people who do good and put our faith into action every day, not just when we vote, that's how we're going to make the biggest impact.
Yeah, so absolutely.
All right, Joe. Well, we went all over the place today. Let's start to wrap it up here. So it's almost the end of the year.
Right.
And again, we've only done training for a little over a year. I don't know when we started. But anyway, last year we kind of started this where we have some kind of fun things at the end of the year.
That's right.
So we're going to start kicking off those next week.
That's right.
So this is kind of our last normal trending, and we're going to start doing some of the fun end of the year stuff starting next week. Yeah. So do you want to give any hints, or should we just leave it at that?
Well, we did favorite things, so we'll do some favorite things. And then we had a phone call with Santa. We're trying to work him in. Well, I guess he's trying to work us in.
He's busy.
He's obviously busier than us. And then we did our Nostradamus episode where we made bold predictions. And so in that episode, we will grade ourselves for 2021's predictions. Then we'll make some for 2023. For the year ahead. So, anyways, I'm not looking forward to that episode.
A little bit of a spoiler. We did not predict anything.
Yes, the gift of prophecy is not strong with these ones.
It was still fun, though. And I think we have some things we can talk about based on our predictions. So stay tuned for those. I think it's going to be fun. Last 2-3 weeks as we kind of end up the year. So for those of you who watch every week, again, we're so grateful for you guys. Thank you for watching today. And whenever you check it out, we're really grateful for you. Any closing thoughts?
None.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then bye.
Period.
Thanks for watching. It's Friday, so have a great weekend. We'll hope to see you on Sunday.
Yeah, see you next time.
Okay. See ya.